This is practice on chapter 3. One of the first things I'm going to do is show you how you can align and indent the paragraphs differently. Looking at these paragraphs, they're all left aligned. If I want to change something from left align to, for example, center or right or full justify, I can do that without selecting a paragraph as long as I'm in the paragraph. If I center this, notice how all the lines are centered. If I choose right align, see how they're all ending at the right. Now watch when I do justify, it stretches and puts kind of extra space between words so that they align on the left as they normally do, but they also are straight up and down on the right. Now I'm going to put it back to left. I'm going to make another paragraph here by just clicking at a word and entering twice. To see what's happening here as far as paragraphs, if I'm in a paragraph and I go to the paragraph launch button and I go to the space before and after, notice that it's 0 and it's single spacing. So if I want to have a blank line between paragraphs, I'm going to have to hit the enter key twice. So I'm going to turn on show hide and see how after the word away, this is an enter and this is an enter. It's giving us one blank line. So if I want this one to stay left align, I'll just leave it left align. If I want to change this one to center, I can click anywhere in the paragraph and click center. And that's normally something you wouldn't do, but do you see how every line is now centered? If I click in the third one and go right align, notice on the short one down here, it's at the right hand margin. And if I go to justify, I can just go ahead and do it like that. Okay, so I'm going to go to undo. Now I can click on this down arrow and I can just start going through all of these until they're all highlighted, and that got rid of all my changes, and I know that they're all gone because undo is grayed out. So another thing I'm going to do is go to paragraphs and how they're indented. None of these paragraphs are indented. Again, I'm going to just go back here, enter twice, so I end up with a 4-paragraph document. On the first one, I'm going to use a first line indent. Now if I wanted to, I can just hit my tab key and all it does is indent the first line. Okay? What if I wanted to take existing paragraphs and have them all indent on the first line? I can select my paragraphs, or in this case I can go Control A. I can go to the paragraph launch button. I can go to special and say first line indent and say OK. And so if you had a long document, instead of going through and saying, putting a tab at the beginning of every paragraph, you could do it that way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Go back to what it was originally. What if you want to do hanging indent? You see hanging indent quite frequently when you're doing bibliographies. A hanging indent means the first line is at the left margin and any turnover lines are in, and the default is for 1/2 inch. So if I click anywhere in this first paragraph, I go to the paragraph launch and get the paragraph dialog box. I can go to special and say hanging and see how the default is for 1/2 inch. When I click OK, notice how only the first line remains at the left margin. Any turnover lines are indented 1/2 inch. If I wanted to do it to the rest, I can just drag through them and do the same thing. I can go here and choose special, hanging, and now they're all a hanging indent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put these back to normal. I'm just going to drag through this. And again, I'm going to put this back. Okay, another thing you can do is you can bring a whole paragraph in at the left. So not a first line indent or not a hanging indent, but making all of the first part of this come over a ½ inch, for example. Okay, one way of doing that would be I could go up here and increase the indent. See how that brings it in a ½ inch? Now using this, I can only affect the left side, not the right side. So if I wanted to change the right side, I could go in that paragraph and go to the launch button, go to right indent, and I could just click up until I get the number of inches, this case a ½ inch, click OK, and you see how now it's coming in a ½ inch on the left and a ½ inch on the right. Notice on the ruler bar that right here, what I'm looking on the ruler bar, this is showing that it's got a left indent of a ½ inch and a right indent of a ½ inch. Okay, so I'm going to decrease this and make it come back. I'm going to slide this over to make it go back to the original. Now notice I can also do this with my ruler bar. If I point to this little bottom character here, this is the left indent, and I can bring this over. When I do, all of it comes with me. That's another way of doing a left indent, and I can also go like this. Accomplishes the same thing as going into the paragraph dialog box. See how it did that? Okay, if I want to do in this paragraph, let's say I want to come in 3/4 of an inch instead of a ½ inch. I'm in a half. I can't use this up here because this only goes in 1/2 inch increments. But I can go down here. I can hold my alternate key down, and as I hold my alternate key down, do you see it's going to tell me how far I'm coming in? Do you see how now it's 0.44? If I go to 0.75, that would be a 3/4 of an inch there. Come over here, hold my alternate key down, and come in until it says 0.75. And sometimes it's hard to get it exactly where you want it, but you can get really close doing that. I can also go into the paragraph dialog box, and you see how the 0.75 came here because I dragged it with my tab. Sometimes you want to take information and you want to change it. It's like, for example, if I want to take a word, I'm going to select it by just double clicking in it. Let's say I want to make it a different typeface. What if I want to make it Arial Black, and I want to make it 16 point, and I want to make it red, and I even want to highlight it. Okay, what if this is something that you want to do to more words in your document? You can use something called the Format Painter. So if I double click on this to select the word that I've changed, if I go to Format Painter, which is up here, it looks like a paintbrush, if I click once on the paintbrush, I can reproduce this look once. So if I go to Available and click in there, see how it changes that? But if I go to another word and click, it's not going to copy that formatting. Let's say I want to use it several times. Again, make your changes, select your word that has all your ideal look to it. This time though, quickly double click on the paintbrush instead of just one single click. And then you can go to another word. You can even drag it across more than one word, and notice that I-beam has a paintbrush with it. So see how I can just paint anything that I want there. And it'll keep working until I end the document, or I go up to the paintbrush and I click on it to deselect it. Once I do that, then the I-beam, it's a normal I-beam again, and not a paintbrush. I'm going to go Control N, which will take me to a new document. Let's say that we want to do some bullets. Okay, so I'm going to make a list of things to do. I'm going to say read, and I'm going to take it off of all caps. Read the chapter. Every time you start a new paragraph, it will capitalize the first word. If I hit enter, because I'm in no spacing style, it's going to give me the look of a blank line. If I'm in a backspace, if I want to be in no spacing but avoid that look, I can hold my shift key down and enter, and that'll give me the look of single space without going into paragraph points before and after. I'm going to say wash the car and shift enter. Pick up dry cleaning, and then once I'm done I can hit enter once, and then I'd have that blank line and I could type another paragraph again. Okay, so if I want to put a bullet on these items here, I'm going to select the items. I don't even have to select all of the last one. I can go to bullets, and bullets is right here. If I click on this one, I get the round bullets. Okay, now this is an example of it being one paragraph. So if I do it like this, notice that it's only going to bullet the first line. So let's see how we can make it work for us. Okay, let me go down to here. I'm going to enter. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to make it 3 separate paragraphs. So I'm going to go into paragraph. I'm going to get a space after and change it to 0. I'm going to go to OK, and I'm going to type the same thing. I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to enter twice and type this. Okay, I'm going to turn on show hide. Do you see up here where I went shift enter and I got this look? Okay, down here, because I changed the point after to 0, I had to hit the enter key itself. If I select these lines now and go into bullet, each line will have a bullet because it's 3 separate paragraphs. Up here, all of this is 1 paragraph. That's why only the first line has a bullet. Okay? Now, what if I want to take this, and I'm going to just change it back to none for right now. I can choose different kinds of bullets. I can go up here, and let's say I want to choose a check mark. So I can have a check mark instead of round bullets. Okay, I'm going to hit undo. Let's say I want to do something fancier. I can select my text. I can go here. I can go to define new bullet list. I can go to symbols. And I can choose, right now I'm in Wingdings. If you go here you can see a list of things, but Wingdings has really neat things. I'm going to scroll up toward the top. And what if I want to put a pencil by each of the items in my list? I can do that. Click OK. And then I'm going to click OK. And do you see how it made my bullets become a pencil? Okay, I'm going to hit undo. Let's try a different one. Okay, so I'm going to go to the down arrow by bullets. I'm going to go to define new bullets. I'm going to go to symbol again. And this time I'm going to put a happy face. Click OK. Now I can even go into font, and I can make the font color yellow, and click OK, and OK. And it's hard to see, but I do have a yellow smiley face there. Okay. So bullets don't have to be just the round black bullets. They can be pictures or symbols, anything of that nature. And this concludes the demonstration on chapter 3.